Start winning at the races with Daily Racing Form's new mobile pass performances, featuring exclusive buyer speed figures and expert analysis and selections. Go to DRF.com/best and get the power of DRF in the palm of your hand. Hi, everybody. Illman and Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for the 4th of July is race number 9 at Belmont Park. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 1 Runhappy Metropolitan Handicap. The Met Mile every year, one of the world's great races, in my opinion, and we've got some of the best handicap horses in America assembled. The 3 McKinsey 2-1 on the morning line, very impressive Carter handicap winner, Bakoma at 5-2, and of course then you've got the Travers winner from last year, Code of Honor at 3-1. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Mike, I think you can make a case for 7 of the 8.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. This is a really good field. Not only the 3 favorites that you mentioned, I mean, any one of those horses I feel like could have been made the morning line favorite in here, but the supporting cast is excellent in this race. Timeform US Pace Projector, focusing in on the 2 horses on the outside as perhaps your main pace protagonists. The 7 Mr. Frese, the 8 Warriors Charge. I know Mr. Frese is fast. I would flip-flop those 2 chicklets, though. I think Warriors Charge is going to be on a send for Brad Cox and Florent Giroux. This horse does his damage and his best work when he's controlling the pace. Yeah, you'll get no argument from me there. I do think the 8 is going to be sent to the front. And you know, Mr. Frese is a fast horse in his own right, but I think he's a little more comfortable tracking. Chad Brown is the number 1, Network Effect. You rarely get Chad at a price. He's 8-1 on the morning line. He will be a price in this race. Not bad for a horse that's 7 of 8 in the exacta. 2 back, they dropped him into a state-bred stake at Gulfstream Park, and it was a bad trip until it turned into a good one. He was bottled up down towards the inside, shuffled back, and then voila! The rail opened up. He shot on through. He's better than those horses. Last time out, no match for Bakoma in the Carter. He ran okay over that sloppy track. He's a nice horse that's yet to put it all together. Yeah, I mean, he did his best the last time in the Carter, got a Grade 1 place, and he was only second best in there. I thought overall he ran fine. You know, listen, I'm not a huge fan of this horse. I didn't really think he was that competitive in here with the 3 favorites. But as you mentioned, you know, this horse who's taken a lot of money in his career. You'll get him at a price this time. Vacoma's the key to this race. Let's watch his most recent effort, the Grade 1 Carter Handicap, his coming out party. He earned a 110 buyer speed figure, and the question handicappers have to ask themselves is, was it the sloppy track? Did he just freak out? A horse with this kind of paddling motion you would think would do well over a river or a stream. Bakoma just ran this field into the ground. Not much running behind Bakoma, Mike. Is this 110 buyer for real? He's really bred to like a sloppy track. Did he just move way up on it? I mean, he might have. I'm not going to, argue with the figure. He looked really, really good winning that race. He also looked really good winning his first start as a 4-year-old down at Gulfstream. And, I sort of had the same questions about the Sir Shackleton as I did somewhat about the Carter, just that he's getting perfect trips. He has the run of the race both times in there. There's really not much going on behind him. I don't think any of that takes away from the 2 races that this horse has run. As a 4-year-old, he's now 4 for 4 around 1 turn. This is clearly what he wants to do. He is a super dangerous horse in here. And he does have that tactical speed that allows him to get good trips. Let's say the 7 and the 8 decide to go out there early. Javier won't have Bakoma too far behind in tracking range, and he'll probably be very close to McKinsey, the number 3. And McKinsey, when he's right, he's one of the better horses in training. Now, he threw in a rare dud in the Saudi Cup, racing without Lasix. Baffert found a nice spot for him in the Triple Bend coming back from the Middle East. Let's watch that race right now. There was not a lot of pace on in this 7 furlong race. And McKinsey, we've always liked him at the 7 furlongs, the mile and a 16th. He wins this race very comfortably. Again, not a strong field, but just what you want to see off the layoff, prepping for a race like the Met Mile. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the positive view of this race, that it was just a prep going 7 furlongs. You can see he was just basically hand-ridden there to win that race. And I'm sure that's probably what Baffert was looking for, to set him up for the Met Mile here, where he's looking for a little redemption, had a little trouble in this race last year, and ran well, getting into some traffic late.
Listen, Dan, his best race is probably the best race available in this field. And if he runs it, he's going to be very tough to beat. I just didn't really know what to do with him. I felt like overall last year, and he ran some really good races last year. He came out of 2019 2 for 7 with 5 seconds. I thought more than anything else, he disappointed last year more than he made hay.
Well, it could be had. I think that's what the record shows. And if you're going to take a short price in this race, it may not be with McKenzie, who obviously can win this race. But again, he's going to be bet based on his reputation and his gaudy Beyer speed figures from 2019. He only earned a 98 last time out. Hog Creek Hustle, the number 4, is a horse that always has a puncher's chance when the pace is electric up front. I was a little disappointed that he got beat last time out, going 7 furlongs. It was an okay optional claiming field at Churchill Downs. The third place finisher came back to win a similar spot with a 94 Beyer speed figure. This horse is a grade 1 winner around 1 turn at Belmont. He won the Woody Stevens the last time he raced here, the one and only time he raced here. This is a tougher spot.
It is. Listen, I am someone who believes that this horse is at his best from 7 to 8 furlongs around 1 turn. He gets that here. It's just a really, really tough spot. And as good as he is, Dan, he's never really run a race that's going to beat this field.
Code of Honor placed second in last year's Kentucky Derby. Winner of the Travers placed first in last year's Jockey Club Gold Cup. We give him the mulligan for the Breeders' Cup Classic. A lot of horses just didn't fire in Southern California that day from the East Coast. Code of Honor made his seasonal debut, a winning one and a solid one in the Grade 3 Westchester. Let's watch that race right now. Endorsed, who's right next door in the Met Mile, he turns for home on the lead. And I really like the ride that Endorsed got here. Aggressively ridden on the turn, tried to open up on Code of Honor, and they almost pulled it off. I like how Code of Honor resolutely reeled in Endorsed. Just a nice effort off the layoff. He had to work, and he should be sitting on go from a fitness standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with all that, Dan. I really liked that return for all the reasons you mentioned. Not only did he beat a good horse and a horse who I thought got a really sort of clever ride from Rosario, but at the end of the day, when I watched it back, I thought Code of Honor actually closed him down relatively easily at the end of that race. I thought that was a great place to start back. I really like him around 1 turn going about a mile. There's just plenty to like about this horse in here.
I expect Code of Honor to be sitting in the 3rd flight here. I think we'll see the 7 and the 8 go to the front. I think we'll see Bakoma and McKenzie in that 2nd flight. And I think Code of Honor is going to be keeping tabs on those 2. And when the jocks on those 2 say go, Code of Honor is going to try to follow and inhale them in the stretch. As for Endorsed, you were very high on this horse coming into the Westchester. I like the ride from Rosario. I think some folks might say maybe he moved a little bit too early. I say no. I think that's the way you're supposed to ride it. Take advantage of the lead. Take advantage of the fact that Code of Honor was coming off of the layoff. He ran really well. Does he have another forward move in him?
Yeah, I don't see why he doesn't, Dan. That was a good performance from him last time. And I also feel like maybe it showed more than anything else that, the longer 2-turn races, I don't really think that's what Endorsed wants. I think he's better, at least for now, going a little bit shorter. So I think the 1-turn mile is good for him. He took a big step forward last time. Maybe he can do it again here. He is going to be a very fair price in this race. And I think he's far from impossible.
Mr. Frese is going to be up close to the pace, and I think cutting back to 1 turn is what he wants. He ran fine last time out as the beaten favorite in the Oaklawn Handicap, but I just really don't think that's his game, going a mile and an eighth. The last 2 times he's run around 1 turn, he won the Gulfstream Mile with a career-best 107 Beyer and the ACAC at Churchill last year with a 100 Beyer. He is capable of running fast races, and he's going to be right there when they turn into the stretch at a big price. I would not sleep on this horse.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, when you look at the 3 favorites in here, if they all show up, maybe Mr. Frese is just going to be in a little bit tough. But boy, he's really underrated, I think. I like him cutting back to the 1-turn mile. I respect his speed. It's not like he doesn't have plenty of figures to suggest that he can go with these horses. I just felt like for a horse who almost has to get lost in the wagering, he's got a real chance to win this race.
Warriors Charge won the Razorback 2 starts back. Then he ran in the Oaklawn Handicap last time out, finishing ahead of Mr. Frese. Let's watch that race right now. This is a 2-turn, 9-furlong race. He turns into the stretch. He has the lead. He runs very gamely to finish second to By My Standards, one of the better handicap horses in the country. By My Standards, of course, came back to run second in the Foster behind Tom's d'Etat. By My Standards in a 102 Beyer speed figure in the Foster. Warriors Charge expected to control the pace in the Met Mile. The question is, we know Mr. Frese is a one-turn horse. Is Warriors Charge a one-turn horse, or do you think his speed plays better in these 2-turn mile and a 16th type races?
I mean, I guess we'll find out, won't we? He hasn't really had a chance to try one of these one-turn routes. He's certainly improved around 2 turns early in his career. We'll see if he likes the one-turn. I respect his speed quite a bit, Dan. Overall, out of the Oaklawn last time, I much preferred Mr. Frese to Warriors Charge, just the way that race was run. I thought Mr. Frese actually had a deceptively tough trip in there, and I thought Warriors Charge basically had a pretty soft trip, controlling what was a mostly rated pace, and he just wasn't good enough. And it's like, this race just gets harder for him.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 1 Runhappy Metropolitan Handicap. It's one of our favorite races of the year. Mike, you're going back to Code of Honor. He can do a little bit of everything. He can win at 1.25 miles. He can win at a mile. We can win on a wet track. He can win on a fast track. And he should get the right setup. There's going to be a fair to fast pace in the Metropolitan, and he's going to be running late.
Yeah, all those things are true. I just think it makes a lot of sense in here, Dan. More than anything else, I think a lot of different horses can win here, but more than anything else, I was just kind of against McKenzie. We'll see what he does. I know that he can win. I was kind of against him. The others, Code of Honor, Bakoma, even Mr. Frese, I thought they were all interested in here.
I'm kind of against McKenzie as well, while realizing that he easily could win this race. I like Bakoma's record around 1 turn. You mentioned he's 4 for 4. I like his tactical speed. This is by far the toughest test he has ever had to face. I think he might be up to it. He's lightly raced enough that there's still some upside. He won't need to run a 110 to win this race. Something close, but he won't need a 110. And if it rains, well, then the others might be in some trouble. Bakoma's my top pick. 2-6-7-5 for me, 5-7-2-3 for Mike. It's the Runhappy Metropolitan Handicap, your DRF race of the day for the 4th of July, with an approximate post of 5:47 Eastern. Good luck.